So I last left off talking about the voltage regulator, I think. I'm not exactly quite positively sure, but I wanted to go over this because I found out why it wasn't charging. Now, I ran my head into the shifter. I want to point out some things. These are heat coils, okay? So these conductive coils work through a point system to allow the voltage to go back to there. Now, they need to heat up before they'll start working. So if you're doing some testing and all of a sudden you're not seeing it come up, it's because they haven't built up the heat inside here. And with the cover off, that'll change times too. It'll cool faster, and so these covers. Now I want to show this cover. Shows that there's been some water in here at some point in time and some rusting and corrosion. So I figured out right away that this wasn't a bad volt regulator. This is a corroded one. So you can see, I'm going to try really hard, guys, that underneath here there's points like you'd see in a point system, and then underneath this tab there's actually, I'll see if I can grab it with my fingernail. That's a point right there, okay? And then you have another one up here as well. And so what you need to do is take a piece of emery paper like this, and you'll see probably a little bit of grayness in there, and that paper's full of stuff. Well, the first time I did it, it was a lot of gray and corrosion and what have you in the point system. And I had to do it a couple different times to get it so it would work good again. But if you do clean it and it doesn't, you're not seeing it charge right away, well, these have to heat up before they'll start doing their job, okay? So we're going to start this tractor, and right now we're at about, we're at just under 13 volts. So we're going to start this, and it should give you between 14.2 and 14.6. If it's over that, well, you got other issues. Do not adjust this screw at all. Don't adjust this. Don't adjust anything. Don't turn these to try to jack it up or do anything like that. Just get in there with the emery paper, clean both sides of the points, and I'm going to tell you, will you have that gap in there? Because you can, here, let me show you this. You can push down on this, and you're going to see an arc. See that arc? Okay? And you're seeing these move. You can actually see these points move. Now, this is an extreme situation here with me forcing it to do this. This is the cutout, okay? These are in charge mode. They have to heat up before they're going to allow the voltage to go through there. Now, remember, that top one, I think it was the top wire. Yep, it's the top guy. That's your field wire. Okay, this is your generator wire, and this is your power wire on the bottom. So power, generator, field. Okay, so this is your field coil. This is your main generator wire that's going to absorb the voltage and let it go through. And it's automatic in how it's going to do that. Now, this is going to bring into another discussion on things. If you've removed your battery and had the battery off, okay, you can potentially, if it's off for long enough and everything winds down and these coils don't have any voltage in them at all anymore, which they legitimately will wind down pretty quick, you can have to repolarize your generator. So in order to do that, you would want to go from the battery side to the generator side, and it's going to try to turn the generator like an electric motor. You'll see an arc. It'll give an arc, but I may have inherently done this, and of course I checked this obviously, so we know that we're going to be charging, because if it's going the other way, one, it won't charge, and two, it can potentially turn into a really wicked welder. Most times it doesn't do anything. But so to get your sandpaper in there, behind on that point, you can go like this, hard ground it, and it'll open those points. So when those points go open, it's not going to allow it to charge. This flutters, okay? This is going to flutter. You're not going to see this thing move. Maybe you get lucky and see it move drastic enough. If it gets a surge or whatever, then you'll see it cut out. But generally you don't see it cut out. And when it cuts out, when this cuts out, is because this coil's heating up, okay? Which it's supposed to. So when it cuts out, it disconnects anything coming from the generator, the voltage from the generator. So I hope that kind of explains the whole concept behind the generator and the voltage regulator, and also setting your polarity. If you've disconnected the battery, let's say you took a battery out of a tractor in the summer because you weren't using it, and then you put it back in, and I suggest at that point in time that you take the belt off the generator and you repolarize the generator, because you're probably not going to have a charging system unless you do that. It may not work at all. It'll act dead. So what you're doing is you're actually charging the coils or the windings in the generator itself by introducing that voltage to this. And this should spin the proper way that the engine spins when you hook that up. If you had it hooked up backwards, you can spin them backwards too. I've done that just for fun. And it's science. So here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to start this thing up. Now keep in mind, I did say, you should put your cover back on, because that's going to change the heat that's inside this cover. It's going to change how fast these coils heat up, because they need to heat up so they do their job. If it's open to the air, it takes longer. So for all practical purposes, we're going to start this, and you're probably not going to see it jump to life like an alternator. An alternator, you got voltage like bam right now. So we're going to try this, and of course this is really loud, I'm sorry, but I'll try to talk over it if need be. That's the horn. That's and you see right now it's actually less than. There, it's starting to heat up the coils, and you're going to watch it climb right up there real quick. See it bounce off there? You might be able to see it. Just sometimes you can see this trip out. Right now it's tripped out, so it's not following the voltage back, but it will in a minute. Move such a minute amount. Now, right on the edge of okay here, and it's slowly letting it charge. It's not hitting it with a real hard boost. Turn the lights on if I draw enough. There, now it needs more voltage. So you're hearing the generator kick in and wind the motor down. So as it needs more voltage, it's giving it to it. See my point? Now, we were hovering around 14, but I've seen this thing go as high as 14.6, depending on what it needs. Now, generators are slow, steady, and efficient little fellas. They're not like an alternator that can just give you a welder voltage, and I've seen that with OMC outboards too, by the way. I'm going to tell you, those things put out so much voltage and amperage, it's insane. That's why they have a diode system to slow them down, and so they won't go crazy. They also have this style voltage regulators in them too. Most of them don't work You can't buy them anymore for OMC stuff. But I'm just going to give you a big hint. If you take them apart and drill off the rivets, because they're riveted, not screwed like farmalls are. But if you take the rivets off and you drill them out and you clean the connectors 9 times out of 10, you can get them to come back to life. I've done it several times. You can also end up with bad diodes with an OMC system. It's kind of going off the deep end here with the boat thing, but a lot of these used a lot of the same technology back in the day. 12 volt voltage regulators don't really care. 12 volt, 6 volt, they don't matter to them. They really don't care. They're just a heat sink device with actually these are really so efficient, you know, but we just don't have the technology, cost-effective technologies to make these today. They worked really good back in the day. They worked excellent. But in electronic voltage regulators, not so much. If you want to learn about those, I suggest you go to Dead Dodge Garage and go to his many electrical videos on electronic voltage regulators and how those work and function in your mighty Mopar. So, little moment to honor Dead Dodge Garage and the knowledge over there. So, Jamie's a pretty smart kid. And he does really good videos, very explanatory videos that will really help you learn about these sort of things. Now, I just did this with this one, you know, because it was being stupid and not charging, and it would charge and then it wouldn't charge, and it would charge and it wouldn't charge, so that's the problem. Now, another thing that does happen kind of rarely, but it does happen on the back side of these voltage regulators, there is a little winding in a porcelain rod that it's a little heat sink that goes from one spot to the next. I have seen those burned out before, corroded up, burned off, and if that happens, they're just done. There's no fix to it, and you'll have to get a different one. But 9 times out of 10, your problems are all going to be in the point system, and if you clean those with some emery paper, you're good to go. And then I just showed you how to do the test. Now, the other thing is too, I have shown you in the earlier video on how to full field your generator with the field wire by going to ground to make sure that your voltage, that your generator is working properly. Now, if it is not polarized properly, it won't charge. It'll go make your needle go backwards. So if it's polarized with the wrong rotation. So that's just a little tech tip there. That's all I need to talk about on this. I'm going to button this all up, finish up my wiring. I'll probably jump back on here in a little bit because I have some other things I'm adding on to this real quick like. And I will be adding these cute little dudes on the top of my loader bucket, because I do a lot of logging with this thing, and I drag loads, I pick up loads of stuff, and I don't have a grapple, so these will be getting welded on. Well, you'll see, but they're going to be welded on at the corners of the bucket and one in the center, so there'll be total 3 of these little dudes, and I will show you when we're welding those on. Hopefully I won't fry my camera like I did the last one. Cameras don't like weld flash. Well, neither do my eyes either, for that matter. But I'll be back. Yeah, I just want to do a quick follow-up here at the tail end. I didn't get time to do all the things I wanted to do with things, but I got this all buttoned back up again on that voltage regulator. The wire all run with loom on it, so you don't have dangling wires. This all hooked up under here. I don't know, the sunlight's going to be a stupid thing, but so the mud don't catch it. If it does, well, it's secured. Yeah, well, don't judge me for that, but it worked. Double nutted and put in a wire thing to hold it up there because I didn't have anything else. So same thing goes for the other side. Got it through here. It's all hooked in. Lights work. And they may be ugly, but ugly is cute. So did follow up on that. Switch over my ball. Did another modification back here too. These things are sways, which you need for swaying back and forth with equipment or whatever. I hate that with a freaking passion, because when I'm trying to move boats around, I need this thing to be steady, and so I put bolts in there to eliminate or minimize the sway on both sides, and it works really good. I mean, it don't really move much, a little bit, and that's perfect. I did the same thing to the other farmall that I got too, that I pull bolts with, and one of them I didn't have to because it's just rigid. Yeah, this is all the wires run up through the fender like the factory did it too, and then I just went accordingly and did my little wire nut thingy or whatever fitting deal. Got my ground located over here, and like I said, it's all good to go. I've already switched to 2 5/16 ball because I'm going to be moving my Chris Craft today. And Harold, you have a bladder control problem. I need to work on this radiator, so that's going to be another project that's going to happen at some point. But we got to get the lights. When they do show up, the lights will be mounted like right between the loader and the body of the tractor, so it's going to shine this way. So, and I also went and put these cleats on here, and there's some of my welding foolishness. And yes, I know how to weld. Been doing it a while, a couple weeks. And that one. And that was with my 160 Altec cranked to the teeth, but it did a really nice job. And these are, well, for when I want to pick up a bundle of logs or whatever, I can take and drop the chain down and hook it in the back of the bucket over here, and then wrap the chain, just throw the chain on the ground, throw a whole bunch of logs on it, bring the chain over the top, and it basically acts like a basket, or similar to a grapple, actually. So yeah, I do like that weld. That thing's just 7 ways of sexy. Well, I like them all. Sometimes I don't have such great luck with welding. I like every welder. Some days you just, if it's ugly, you grind it off and redo it, because I can't stand ugly welds. Okay, so that's all I really wanted to cover. Oh, the one in the middle was specifically for lifting outboards, because this has a really nice soft progression like a forklift as far as the lifting with the loader bucket versus the 3-point. The 3-point's really jerky, but the loader bucket is very gradual and very soft. And so if I hook a chain into here with a hook, you know, whatever length of chain, and hook it into here, leave the remainder of the chain lay up here, and just dangle off what I need, then I can use my other tools that I have for lifting. So that wraps up the whole farmall debacle here with all the things I've done to it. The video is probably going to be ridiculously long, but it is what it is. So maintenance is maintenance, you know, and the deeper you dig, the deeper you are in. I didn't even film a whole bunch of stuff that I did to this thing that just needed doing. So it's got to get kicked outside so I can move on with this back cleanup thing. All this crap has got to go. So everything leaves. So got to go. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that whole like and subscribe thing. Yeah, probably do that. We'll be back with some more fun stuff. Hopefully, boats and trailers and outboards and muscle cars. Oh my, and I've got my eyes on another muscle car. I don't know why. So, there's that. And it's got a hell of a story that's going with it too. Anyway, take care all. Thanks for watching.